Thomas was a host on the Young Turks' main show starting back in 2017. But all of a sudden, once the start of 2020 hit, she completely disappeared from the Young Turks. And despite being known by many of the show's viewers, there wasn't much talk about how she left, why she left, or the fact that she left at all. So what exactly happened? Well, as stated, at the start of 2020, it appeared that she had started working for Fox Soul and The Black Report. It also appears she works for Fox 11, the local LA station for Fox. She stopped appearing at all on the Young Turks at this time. It's worth noting that Brooke Thomas was not the same as someone like an Anakasparian or a Kyle Kulinski, and it wasn't even entirely clear where her ideology exactly came down. It's not completely clear if she supported Bernie Sanders for president or not, but it rather appeared that she actually was more geared towards identity politics rather than economic issues. A moment that seemed to indicate this was when Brooke got into a heated debate with Hassan Pakar about whether or not the Congressional Black Caucus were, quote, cowards for endorsing Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
This idea, publicly. Last week, members of the influential Congressional Black Caucus floated Biden and Harris as a dream ticket, and that put her in an uncomfortable spot of trying to delicately push back on it without offending the group of which she is a member.
So,
glad about the Black Caucus. I mean, they're a bunch of cowards. Every single person. I'm sorry. I don't like Kamala Harris. I'll just say that right off the bat.
But you can't say the Congressional Black Caucus is a bunch of cowards.
What are they doing? Why are they putting up Joe Biden, a person who is like who's spoken fondly about compromising with segregationists, who's eulogized Strom Thurmond, who has opposed integration in the form of busing? Who has co-sponsored drug bills that were incredibly damaging to the African American community, that perpetuated the war on drugs, that criminalized black existence in the form of the crime bill that is what his most famous legislative accomplishment was. Why are they backing this person?
Yeah, but you cannot call the Congressional Black Caucus, which includes members like Representative John Lewis, of all people,
not all of them, but it's frustrating to me that every politician, no matter what, is very obviously going against the best interests of the constituencies, or even the identities that they're supposed to be representing, if that's what we're going to be talking about. Because Joe Biden fails on all accounts. His track record is god awful. His current standing is god awful too. I mean, everything he says is a political gaffe. He's not even intelligent enough to like make a Pete Buttigieg style retort to all of these, to any of these questions. Like, he can't even deflect away. It's just terrible. He's terrible across the board. And any person that puts him up as the primary front runner for the Democratic Party is not a friend of mine. I do not find them to be interested in the best interest of the American people. It doesn't matter if it's the Congressional Black Caucus. It doesn't matter what the historic legacy is. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. And it's Joe Biden. It's not like I'm saying this about Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris has a lot of other issues, but it's just terrible. I can't believe that these people are just still pushing this narrative.
Yeah, so Congressman, that happens, and we're using John Lewis.
You can't be a coward. You can't say that somebody who's put their life on the line.
Him, but
like
anyone who puts up
the word coward.
Okay, but anyone who puts up Joe Biden right now as the front runner, and even throws Kamala Harris under the bus as a vice president rather than the actual president, is not representing the interest of their black constituents at all. It's not representing the interest of Americans at all. That's what I mean. You could have been a brave civil rights hero, but still be cowardly. I don't know if John Lewis was personally responsible for putting Joe Biden as the front runner, but I'm just saying that this move right here is a cowardly move. We do not need Joe Biden. Joe Biden is terrible.
Let me weigh in here. So
they always get it right. I was a majority of the Congressional Black Caucus years and years ago supported Hillary Clinton over Barack Obama. If you remember.
That's a great point.
I'm not saying that they don't get it wrong. I just will not sit here and think it's okay to say that the Congressional Black Caucus is a bunch of cowards. I think that that's a step too far.
Obviously, there are.
So it was. I just wasn't okay with that statement, just personally, but. Of course they get it wrong. And to be fair, nobody else would say, like, I understand why you would support, if they only came out and only supported the black candidate, there would be so much backlash about that every single time. And What else was I going to say? They can't just do that. And every single candidate, even someone's favorite candidate, you can find something they've done great for black people and something that they have done that has been detrimental to black people, because that's just the history of politics. Every single Democratic candidate, every single one, has done something that is harmful to black Americans, to that group of people there.
But not Joe Biden, whose legacy is specifically doing harmful things to the black community. Like,
you think he's done nothing good for black people?
No, that's not fair. But no, both sides are not fair. Hold on.
All of his biggest legislative accomplishments are incredibly damaging to the black community, whether it be the acceleration of the war on drugs or, like I said, the crime control bills. Like, I mean, this is, I don't know what else to say.
I hear you. Look, I think his overall track record, hold on. His overall track record is not as good as even an average Democrat. But that doesn't mean he didn't do anything good for African Americans. No, he's a Democrat. He voted for a lot of bills that help the average guy rather than the wealthy, the powerful, et cetera. And we know how the demographic breakdown in this country has broken down. So that winds up helping African Americans, et cetera. So it's unfair to say he didn't do anything to help black people. That's no. But does he have a good track record on this? I would argue he does not.
I would agree.
And so, but I want to go back to one other central point here about Kamala Harris.
A lot of the issues one could have about Kamala Harris, if you just write them like your top 10 in the list, those are stronger over on Biden. So I do agree that it's ridiculous but that's what happens. Black people have a higher bar than white people do with black people oftentimes. And I'm not talking about black activists. I'm talking about just like general black voters and what I've seen. There are harsher criticisms against her than Biden, even though you should have similar angers about him.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like Kamala Harris, her opinion on truancy and jailing black mothers and whatnot, not great, but definitely nowhere near as bad as Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Like as harmful as Joe Biden to the black community.
Yeah, I mean, so that's why like sometimes the right wing will say, I know, sometimes the right wing will say absurd.
Hassan Packer believed that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris had very anti-black pasts when it came to their policy. But Brooke Thomas found it very hyperbolic and very disrespectful that Packer would call them cowards. This seemed to be the divide between Brooke Thomas and the rest of the main TYT hosts. Now, it is worth mentioning that the Young Turks does have many centrist hosts, like Ben Mankiewicz or Michael Schur, who are more centrist than Anakasparian. So do you think that kind of rhetoric or thought divide was the reason she left? Maybe, maybe not, but it might be a bit unlikely. Her departure also came at a time where the Young Turks were letting go of many of its on-air workers. They let go of Packer, Francis Maxwell, and others. The Young Turks appeared to be struggling quite a bit financially, and so it had to let go some of its talent. It is likely that Brooke Thomas was simply offered more money to take the job at Fox 11 and Fox Soul, and TYT simply could not match it.